He just dude crazy. Like, he just talk a lot of, and I just like to sit there.
NBA YoungBoy just dropped a
NBA YoungBoy might be the biggest rapper. I said that 5 years ago.
What you mean big when you say big?
Ain't no gonna be bigger than NBA YoungBoy. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
He the biggest YouTube artist right now in the world. And he behind the wall.
NBA YoungBoy just dropped a straight up bomb about Birdman, and this one's wild. He's saying Birdman's been pulling strings, using him like a pawn, and even trying to sabotage him behind the scenes. But that's just the surface of this crazy story. When the truth started bubbling up, YoungBoy didn't bite his tongue. He came for the boss himself. Everything hit the fan on June 9th, 2024, when DJ AIDS dropped that YouTube track, Tears of War. From the first bar, the whole hood knew this wasn't no regular diss track. This was family business being aired out in public, and every word dripped with real pain. You could feel it. This wasn't rap beef. This was heartbreak wrapped in betrayal. The wildest part? That was the last song YoungBoy recorded before the feds raided his Utah home in April. Picture that. Pressure from the streets, pressure from the law, and then finding out the man you looked up to might have been playing you all along. Then came the line that stopped everyone cold. No subliminals, no slick metaphors, just raw truth straight from the chest. YoungBoy aimed right at Birdman's neck, and the way he spoke, it cut deeper than any diss could. This wasn't music, it was a betrayal anthem. Watching old clips now almost hurts. You see that young, hopeful kid smiling when he said he liked when Birdman popped that talk. He really thought he'd found a real mentor, someone to guide him and teach him the ropes. But behind all that shine and smooth talking, Birdman was already setting up the long game. Let's keep it real. Birdman ain't no regular dude. Brian Birdman Williams is one of the slickest, coldest moguls in hip-hop history. Birdman's been running the game since before half these new rappers even knew what a studio was. Cash Money Records was his kingdom, built from the ground up into a billion-dollar empire. His whole formula, find raw talent, polish it up, and flip that hunger into chart-topping gold. And the proof's in his lineup. Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, all molded under his watch. So when Birdman spotted NBA YoungBoy back in 2018, he recognized that same spark he saw in a young Wayne. Straight out of Baton Rouge, YoungBoy had the streets buzzing with his pain-filled tracks and reckless fire. But fame came with chaos. Court cases, arrests, headlines, pure drama for Atlantic Records. Still, Birdman didn't see a liability, he saw a legacy investment. He poured on the love, calling YoungBoy the next big thing, but behind all that praise was strict business strategy. And when Birdman co-signs you, that's not just support, that's a golden ticket from the rap gods. Atlantic didn't know how to handle YoungBoy's volatility, so when Birdman swooped in talking mentorship, it felt like a miracle deal. But here's the twist. Birdman wasn't just selling business, he sold comfort and control. He moved like a father figure, talking pain, trauma, and fame like he understood it all. And for a kid from Baton Rouge who grew up in survival mode, that kind of talk, it hit deep. Birdman knew exactly how to move when he and YoungBoy first linked up. Their collab on Until Death Call My Name felt electric, pure chemistry.
But I'm just saying, when that little boy get his mind right, and he come from under this bush and understand who he is, because you know, Thugger and all them, they up in age. They 30, it's 20.
But you think that going through ain't doing that but helping him to his path to do that, though?
Of course.
Yeah.
They ain't making them nothing but a monster.
Birdman's slick OG confidence mixed perfectly with YoungBoy's raw pain, and fans could feel something major brewing. So when they announced From the Bayou in 2018, the hype skyrocketed. Everyone thought it was the ultimate Louisiana link-up, the king passing his crown to the next ruler. Birdman hit interviews talking smooth, saying YoungBoy's pain was building character and his legal mess was just fuel for greatness. To a young artist drowning in pressure, that kind of talk felt like salvation, but deep down, it was just the calm before a messy storm. When From the Bayou finally dropped in December 2021 after years of delays, fans instantly noticed something off. It wasn't a real collab. It was basically a YoungBoy solo tape with Birdman's name sprinkled across the credits. His tag was there, but his actual presence, barely. People started whispering. Something about that partnership didn't sit right. Birdman had been calling YoungBoy his blood son, showing him off like family, but when it came time to really ride for him, that fatherly energy disappeared quick. It felt like deja vu, and the OGs in the game recognized the pattern fast. Folks remembered how Birdman once pulled the same slick moves with Lil Wayne, and the wildest part, even Wayne himself tried to warn YoungBoy before things went too far. Back in 2020, Lil Wayne dropped a subtle gem, basically warning YoungBoy to watch out for the OG. It wasn't hate, it was experience talking. Wayne had lived that pain before, but when you're young, hungry, and someone's promising you fame, power, and protection, it's hard to hear the warnings, even from a legend. Wayne wasn't just offering random advice, he was speaking from scars. He'd been through it all with Birdman, the fake promises, emotional manipulation, and that ugly $51 million legal battle over unpaid royalties. So, when he told YoungBoy to be careful, he was trying to save him from the same trap that almost ended his own legacy. The message was simple: don't trust the shine just because it glitters, especially when it's coming from someone who's left a trail of broken artists behind him. But YoungBoy couldn't see it back then. He was caught up in legal chaos, media drama, and street tension, searching for someone who understood both sides of his world. That's when Birdman slid in smooth, offering guidance, connections, and what looked like genuine love. By 2022 and into 2023, Birdman had that image locked down. He even hit podcasts defending YoungBoy when critics like Joe Budden tried to clown him. It looked like a real bond, like a mentor protecting his protege. But behind the scenes, not everything was as loyal as it seemed. Behind the scenes, that picture-perfect loyalty started falling apart. YoungBoy began noticing the little things, broken promises, slick talk, and how Birdman's every move seemed to benefit himself more than his so-called protege. What once felt like love and guidance started feeling like control and manipulation. When it finally hit him that the man he saw as a father might have just been using him as a pawn, it shattered something deep inside. That betrayal cut deeper than any diss track or street beef ever could. YoungBoy had survived poverty, loss, and chaos, but realizing his mentor had been playing chess with his emotions, that was a whole different kind of pain.
A lot of that's like go on and BR, you know, a lot of this.
By 2024, sitting in Utah under house arrest and facing federal charges, YoungBoy had nowhere to dump that hurt. So he turned to what he knew best, the mic. And what came out wasn't just another record, it was a 6-minute confession, raw and unfiltered, aimed straight at Birdman himself. That track, Tears of War, wasn't a diss. It was pure emotion turned into artillery. When it dropped, the whole rap world froze. Every lyric bled truth. Every bar sounded like a wound reopening. You could feel the pain, the betrayal, and the fury of a young man realizing the one person he trusted most might have been the one holding him back all along. That kind of pain, you can't fake it, not even with the best pen in the game. The beat alone told the story. Dark, heavy, and tense, like the air right before a tornado hits. You could feel it building, that energy that says something real is about to go down. Then YoungBoy started spitting. Calm but cold, every word trembling with truth. And when he dropped the line, Stu never loved me, shoulda listened to Carter, the whole industry froze. A direct nod to Lil Wayne's warning, it hit like a thunderbolt. That was the moment everyone realized this wasn't just about Birdman, this was about trust, betrayal, and the price of loyalty.
Our relationship blossomed throughout the years.
He just, dude, crazy. Like, he just talk a lot of shit, and I just like to sit there. That's my fire. I like when he pop this shit.
That one bar flipped the whole narrative. It wasn't a diss, it was a confession. YoungBoy admitted he'd been outplayed by a veteran who'd been running games since before he was even born. The fact he referenced Wayne made it even deeper, because everyone who knew the history got it instantly. Wayne had tried to lace him up years earlier, warning him exactly what kind of man Birdman was. But YoungBoy was too caught up in the promises, too wrapped in the dream of fame and family to see it. Now he was saying it out loud. He should have listened. That's what made this track legendary. It wasn't about calling someone out, it was about owning the pain. In a culture that treats vulnerability like weakness, YoungBoy flipped the script. He poured his soul into the mic, admitting he got played, and that honesty took real strength. As the record went on, he painted pictures of false promises, twisted deals, and love that vanished once the money showed up. This wasn't business beef, it was emotional warfare. He wasn't exposing contracts, he was exposing manipulation from a man he once called family. Then came the money talk. That's when fans realized this wasn't just emotional, it was financial betrayal too. YoungBoy hinted Birdman had promised him big ownership deals and life-changing money, but none of it ever came true. Same old formula, big talk, small payout. What made Tears of War hit harder than any diss track wasn't aggression, it was heartbreak. You could feel the loss of someone he once loved and trusted. No threats, no flexing, just pure sadness and truth pouring through every bar. It wasn't war against an enemy, it was mourning a bond that died. YoungBoy wasn't just calling out Birdman's business moves, he was pulling the curtain back on how deep that control really ran. He hinted that Birdman had crossed personal lines, getting way too involved in his private life and relationships, areas no mentor should ever touch. It started sounding less like guidance and more like manipulation disguised as love. He painted a picture of someone using emotional control as a weapon, keeping him loyal through guilt, praise, and mind games. And that's what made the Lil Wayne connection hit even harder. Wayne had walked that same dark road, the love, the promises, the loyalty, all leading to betrayal, lawsuits, and missing millions. The patterns were too familiar to ignore. Wayne saw it coming and tried to warn the next generation, but by the time YoungBoy realized it, the damage was already done. Even the production of Tears of War told the story. Stripped down, eerie, and cold. The slow drums and ghostly piano gave it a funeral energy, like YoungBoy wasn't dissing Birdman. He was burying their bond. Every pause, every crack in his voice carried weight. This wasn't performance. It was pure emotion turned into poetry. You could feel him trying to hold it together while spilling years of buried pain. The realness was so heavy, even industry vets had to stop and listen. And when people started breaking down the lyrics, it got dark fast. The story lined up too neatly with what former Cash Money associates had whispered for decades. The same manipulation, the same broken promises, the same trail of hurt artists left behind. But the part that shook everyone the most, Birdman's silence, no response, no denial, no slick PR move, just quiet, and sometimes silence says more than any statement ever could. People were split. Was he quiet because he was guilty and didn't want to make it worse? Or was it Chess refusing to fuel YoungBoy's fire? Either way, the streets were locked in and the culture couldn't stop buzzing. Reactions came fast. Half the crowd praised YoungBoy for speaking truth and exposing how powerful figures in the industry exploit the very artists they claim to protect. To them, Tears of War wasn't a diss. It was a revolutionary call-out, breaking the illusion of loyalty that's usually one-sided in the music game. The other half? They questioned if he went too far, wondering if airing out personal business in public might burn bridges he still needed. But even the critics had to admit one thing: his pain was real. You can't fake that kind of heartbreak in your voice. That was a man realizing the true cost of trust in an industry where mentorship can sometimes be just another hustle. Hip-hop has always blurred the line between guidance and exploitation. But YoungBoy's story ripped the curtain wide open, showing how ugly it can get when power gets personal. Tears of War wasn't just music. It was a warning shot to every young artist stepping into the game, thinking love and loyalty mean the same thing. He proved that honesty takes more strength than ego ever will. Admitting he got played didn't make him weak, it made him wiser, louder, and more dangerous. As the shockwaves from Tears of War started to fade, the real message began to shine through. YoungBoy hadn't just vented, he turned pain into power. His art hit everyone who's ever been betrayed by someone they trusted. This wasn't just a diss, it was a mirror for every fake promise, every broken "I got you," and every deal that turned into a life lesson. By August 2025, word started spreading that both camps were open to a sit-down. After years of pain, betrayal, and public chaos, talks began about finally putting it all to rest. For those who'd been watching this story from the start, it felt like the storm might finally be clearing, not with more shots fired, but with growth, closure, and maybe even peace. That news hit like a movie twist nobody saw coming. After all the chaos, betrayal, and silence, Birdman and YoungBoy finally agreed to meet, face to face. And where else could it happen but New Orleans, the city that made them both? The moment carried heavy energy, not just home turf, but history, pain, and pride, all in one room. When they finally sat down in August 2025, witnesses said the meeting was emotional, raw, and real. Both men dropped their egos and spoke like two people who'd been through war and survived. Even at the height of their beef, there'd always been a strange kind of mutual respect under the surface. A clip even resurfaced from DJ Academics showing Birdman calming a heated backstage moment. A reminder that, despite it all, the bond ran deep. The path to peace wasn't easy. It took honesty and humility from both sides. YoungBoy had to face the heartbreak of being betrayed by someone he saw as family, and Birdman had to look in the mirror, realizing that his choices, whether intentional or not, had scarred someone who truly looked up to him. When they talked, it wasn't about money, fame, or clout. It was about healing, real conversations, real accountability, and for once, real growth. What came out of that sit-down was rare in hip-hop. Two men choosing peace over pride. It wasn't perfect, but it was closure. YoungBoy walked away lighter, ready to rebuild his career and refocus his energy, using Birdman's game and industry knowledge to move smarter. And Birdman, he quietly began rebuilding his legacy, showing the world he could still guide new talent, this time with a little more heart behind the hustle. The reconciliation didn't just heal old wounds, it opened new doors. Word spread fast through the industry that Birdman and YoungBoy were quietly discussing From the Bayou 2, a follow-up to their first mixtape. The idea of new music from the reunited duo had fans losing their minds. That chemistry they once had on wax, it was legendary. But this time, it wasn't just about hype, it felt like redemption, a full circle moment where two men took their pain, flipped it, and found peace in the process. What really stood out though was the maturity. Instead of letting pride keep them locked in another toxic cycle, they chose to handle it like men. They showed that in hip-hop, you can confront betrayal, own your part, and still rebuild trust when the hurt runs deep. Their story became a blueprint for real growth in the culture, not through endless disses or destruction, but through conversation, healing, and accountability. It proved that strength isn't just about who shouts the loudest, it's about who's brave enough to forgive and evolve. In the end, the story of NBA YoungBoy and Birdman, from mentorship to betrayal to reconciliation, stands as one of hip-hop's most powerful lessons. It's a raw reminder that in this game, the line between love and loyalty can blur fast. But redemption is always possible when respect wins over revenge. If you felt this story, hit that like button, drop a comment, share it with someone who loves real hip-hop stories, and subscribe for more. Until next time, see you in the next one.